Welcome to OWAD Today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue exploring contemporary Chinese. And today we have a long one. It's called 义大利大脑腐蚀. Okay, it's very mouthy and it's totally new for me until I was preparing. And Ask Internet was the hottest term of the newly created expressions. And this came up. And when I check it out, I'm like, wow, this totally tells the story of our time in 2025 because we're talking about brain rot, erode, which is a Chinese way to say brain rotting, and 意大利. These three characters should be 意大利. This is the official Chinese translation of the country of Italy, simply by the sound 意大利, okay, Italy, okay, three syllables, right? So Chinese got 意大利, three characters for them. And because we use it as our translation, so the characters would be fixed. You wouldn't necessarily switch out unless you're illiterate or you're joking, like you intentionally switch out to make fun of it, which is this case. So we switch out the E. This means the heart, the singing of the heart. And that's a Chinese poetic way of today's intent. Intent is the official translation there. But here is another big word, name, means moral, which you see simplified traditional looks a lot different. And this moral is made of the double weapon hold concept of me, because I guess the ancient concept me is from the ruler's perspective, is whoever can be the warrior, whoever can be, I guess in today's word would be whoever can be fighting for your country, patriots, or veterans, or whoever who is actually serving the country in a military capacity. This 我 is made for that concept. I never thought about that. I never recognized this concept of 我, this self-referral, even have anything to do with weaponry, with war, with defending the ruler of the country. Okay, the top is the lamb symbol, the premium meat that's used for animal sacrifice for negotiation with a divinity. And that premium meat associated, paired together with concept, double weaponry, 我, this me concept, that means moral. And I guess that's the ancient propaganda of brainwashing that's related to instill in everyday people whose self-interest would be self-preservation, would be not going to war, right? But from the ruler's point of view, they need body on the ground to fight, to defend, and this, or invade, right? And this story making of you're the premium, we set the highest standard. You're the highest, you represent the best from our country. Whatever propaganda back then, that's formulated into the sense of moral making here. Okay. This fortunately, 意大利 and the 大脑 both include this big word. And this big is made of these two parts combined with a binder, this horizontal thing. That means you are creating something from two pieces. This combined thing is guaranteed to be bigger than the original singular pieces. Versus small, we create a separator, vertical line cut in the middle, and then the two separate. And that's smaller, going to be smaller than the original thing. That's a Chinese thinking, like to express big or small, we use combine or separate to make sure that it's going to be bigger or smaller than, and eventually language in action, in use. We get rid of the relative term. Everything becomes absolute. Okay, so there's big. And the li, we have sharp imagery created by the crop, which is a plant symbol, canopy of the tree, root of the tree connected by trunk of the tree, but the top, the canopy of the tree is dropping down, drooping like that. That means the fruits or the grains. were ready to be harvested. They are heavy, they are dripping. So that is going to be harvested by the knife, which is the right symbol. We have two edges of the knife, and then we have a handle. That's super simplification of how a knife is. When a knife placed next to a crop, the deduction is it better be sharp because harvesting is time sensitive. We only have a short time window to cut all the crops. And this tool demand, probably, I mean, contemporary living people, we don't really worry about that. But that's ancient technology. And that's what the critical, I guess, a year's work, the success or failure critical moment. And that sharpness come from this crop harvesting imagery. Okay. Now, brain. Okay. This box with a chimney on the top is almost like a visual drawing of anybody's head with an antenna in the middle of the head, and then with a cross, meaning network, something in there. And then we even draw out the three hairs, vertical. So whose hairs grow vertically? That's when this person, which is on the left side, because I know Chinese person symbol is leftward facing. The straighter side is the front side of the body, and then the back side, the curvy, the back torsos, I'm going to wrap over this. This is the automatic or default facing of Chinese. Now here is the opposite direction. That means it's a little bit different from a regular person. What person is that? Could be a dead person, or it could be something not from your tribe, somebody who is different, and their head is cut off. And therefore the hair is going anti-gravity looking. And this is to emphasize the brain, the networks inside this sphere attached to the hair. And that's associated with, in this case, a dead person almost. Okay, that's brain. Rat. We have the meat symbol. It looks like an omega sign with two stripes over there. So that's the texture, the streaks of a meat. So apparently this is associated with meat rotting. And why rat on the top paired with food, which means bureaucracy or local government agency, that's kind of people facing. It's not like we have the emperor or the ruler facing with the bureaucracy, the top, the bosses of the bosses of the bosses of the ancient ruling apparatus, and then that interface with the one person singular. Normally, I guess 99% of the time is male, singular, ruler. This is the interfacing of the government with people. This is local government. Local government expressed by this half opening space. So we have the top left corner. Okay, let me see, does it have, okay. Regularly, when we express human living quarters, it's a big dome with a chimney on the top. But here we have only half enclosed dome. That means semi-private, semi-open. And that's exactly how the local government agency, just like today's White House, half of it is private bedrooms and living quarters for the first family. And then half of it is, I guess, public facing space. So this public and private merged into the same beauty. Same structure here, just Chinese expressed by not fully enclosed human living quarters. And then we have human symbol. That's the regular leftward facing human symbol. And then we have a three-finger hand symbol with one horizontal line pointing toward 1 inch down. That's for ancient pulse reading. And every doctor at least, in ancient Chinese to diagnose people with this 1 inch down. So that symbolizes rule setting or the best practice. So we have the best practice about humans under the semi-opening semi-private, semi-public space that together form the image of local agency. And why local agency or government bureau paired with meat means rat? That left for interpretation. My interpretation is probably bureaucracy was a common thread through history that it signified it's slow moving, it's low metabolism. And so the meat, if at the bureaucracy, storage or speed, is going to rot. All right, you wrote, we have the eating symbol on the left side, which is made of this grain of rice, kind of a capsule with a horizontal line in it. Looks just like the sun symbol, but it's a small capsule of sunlight or energy preserved through photosynthesis and through human agriculture effort, preserved into that grain of rice or other grains. And then we have this almost like a reverse fork looking thing. That means it's a stand of a pot of rice. And the top triangle shape is the gathering. So eating is a family gathering process. So family gather together for the smell, the aroma of the rice, the cooked rice. So left side is eating. The right is a transformed shape of human figure. You see here, human figure like this. And here is just elongated so that it looks like wrapping around, forms a more, I guess, picture of the frame, takes up the more frame. And because the left side getting shorter, we have the worm symbol up there. Worm next to human and eating. Three things together. Who do you think is eating whom? Humans eating worm or worm eating human? To me, this probably more like slow eating of human dead body. And I would argue I probably should use human figure like this instead of the leftward facing human. Anyhow, cannot nitpick too much of ancient language creation rules. But this worm slowly eating away, that's the decay of body, right? I guess ancient times, this what's the word? Like burning the body probably was not the common practice. It's still like a buried underground, and probably language observers observe that worms eventually eat off the protein part of the human body, and this become the erode concept. And 意大利大脑腐蚀 it's this joking way of this foreign, faraway land, not from China, it's Italy. Somewhere in Europe, we even intentionally misspell the country, but everybody who knows three Chinese character formed translation is hard to misconfuse with or mixed up with another expression. So 意大利, by looking at it, we know it's some foreign country, but we're not serious about this is probably a fantasy foreign country. And then big brain. Yeah, Chinese use big brain on human brains. And 腐蚀, both rot of the meat and the worm eating the dead body. The erode together means rot for Chinese. And that is today's phenomenon of this social media age entertainment, which is short attention span, and especially after generative AI, that you can easily create nonsensible imageries to entertain people so that people can experience the brain rotting and some exotic landscape or storytelling that doesn't make any sense. So I find the English Gen Z vocabulary, skibidi, probably is a good English correspondence to this Chinese translation of brain rotting, adding the Italy flavor to it. And it's a Chinese version to call out our age's problem. That's 意大利大脑腐蚀. Thank you for your time. See you another day.